So, my name's Artemis, and the end of the year has kind of got me thinking things through, and I've seen a lot of stuff about people posting about the furry fandom and, you know, how I'm leaving it, joining it, being a part of it, and it does make me wonder what exactly the fandom really is to some people, and, you know, what exactly the level of organisation really means. So, we're going to have a little look about what it actually means to be part of the furry fandom, because I just feel like talking about it, and there we go. So, let's dig in. So first up, there's the whole thing of what actually qualifies you being a furry, because, you know, if you take it down to brass tacks, a real basic level, it's just, do you like anthro-animal characters? Yeah, furry, done, sorted. But by that logic, everyone who's ever liked and watched and enjoyed a Disney film pretty much fucking qualifies. So is it just a matter of, oh, this is something that I like, so therefore I can attach this label to myself, or do you actually have to have a level of engagement with the fandom? I mean, it's really easy to just self-identify as a furry and then just sit on the sidelines and never do anything, but then if we're saying that you have to be part of the community and doing stuff, then what? What do you have to do? Do you have to have a Twitter page and some followers? Do you have to retweet enough stuff? Is there a set level a month that you have to be engaging with things? Or is it just a weird fluid concept that no one's ever really tried to nail down? And that kind of mixes in with people saying, like, oh, you're not furry enough and whatnot. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a big fucking thing. Obviously, I'm not going to say that, you know, oh, well, there's actually people that are proper gatekeeping this entire fucking thing, saying you're not enough of a furry to matter. But there is the whole thing with self-identifying and feel like, am I actually enough of a furry? Am I doing the right things? Am I going to enough cons and fur meets? You know, it's the sort of thing that makes people think that they need a fursuit to fit in, but they actually don't. And the sort of thing that makes people commission fursuits and then wonder why they're not really into it, because, you know, they were never really going to be into it to begin with. They just thought that they needed to have one to truly feel like they were part of the community. And that's really not the fucking case. At all. Like, not even a little bit. Don't ever entertain that thought. But there is some weird sort of element of gatekeeping as well, and it does come up with certain individuals and practices and stuff like that. For instance, you know, there's the whole zoophilia thing, there's certain extreme right-wingers in the fandom, and, you know, it's a very left-wing fandom. So there is that element of, well, you're not part of this community, you're not part of what we represent, and I'm kind of always wondering, like, but who gets to say that? Because there's no centralized authority within the fandom, now is there? There's no one that definitively says yes, 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 no. So, can we really say that as a fandom? Because is it something that people can self-identify with? I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to try and make yourself a part of, because by saying, like, you know, I am a furry, you're kind of then just tacitly agreeing with every stereotype that goes along with furries. Like, the first question a lot of us get asked, like, oh, is that sex thing? You like to fuck dogs? Like, just liking the characters and performance and creating this content doesn't automatically assume these things, but hey, we live in a world where, yes, it does. So, yeah, that's a weird fucking concept to first even get into, of what actually qualifies you being a furry. And then it kind of gets weirder when you try and break down the actual aspects of being in the community. So I said about lack of centralization and authority, and that is, again, still the case. You know, there's no, you know, universal governmental body of furriness, and thank the fucking Lord for that, because it would only be awful. But there does come a lot of problems with that, because we have a lot of people who like to identify themselves as furry, and they are, you know, these zoophile apologists and whatnot, these, what is it, MAPs, the minor attracted peoples, persons, whatever, who are just basically trying to legitimize paedophilia, as if, you know, that's a thing that you could even do. And, you know, it's difficult because they also enjoy furry stuff, but therefore they can brand themselves as a furry, and the community at large is here like, no, we don't like nonces and we don't like dog fuckers, so they ain't a part of us. But again, who can really stand up and say definitively? There's always going to be that question. That's the problem with people who are toxic and shitty in this fandom, is that there's no real way to say, yep, they're not a part of this. You can't even really truly ban them. Look at this Diesel wanker. He got banned from the convention MFF that's just gone, but he still turned up as a hotel guest, because you can do that. That's fine. Can't go into panels and such, but anyone who's been to a con knows that most of it happens in public places, like the lobby. So, what exactly can you do about saying, no, this is not part of us and this is? Because essentially this is such a massive fluid thing with so many little niches and offshoots, and all these little areas that not everybody's into, like the sex stuff, that you can never really truly say what it is and what it isn't, and what is or isn't a part of it. I think I just confused myself at that point. But the same thing comes in with leaving and returning to the fandom, and I've seen so many people like, why I left the furry fandom, and it's a whole video of them talking about why they're no longer in the furry fandom, but they're doing it in fursuit. No, you are, okay? Like, because this isn't something where you like hand in your notice and you work it off and that's it. You get your P60 in the post and that's it. You're no longer a furry. No, if you can just turn up and decide you are one, then you can just turn up and say, actually, no, I'm not anymore. But it doesn't really matter or anything, does it? This isn't like... I don't understand the mentality of that, because honestly, when people say, like, this is why I left the furry fandom, what they're really saying is, this is the shit that happened to me that I'm blaming on the whole community, rather than the personal issues that happened. Like, okay, that's fine, champ. That's fine. You do you, I guess, but to pretend you're not still going to, make money off of this fandom and still integrate with it and make content that can be shared across these platforms. Like, it's essentially still being part of the fandom, isn't it? But whatever. That's fine, I guess. Just a little bit fucking weird. But then I started to think, like, what actually gets people to join the fandom? What got me to join the fandom? Well, it was stuff that you don't have in your typical day-to-day life, such as, a social circle, friends, and, enjoying hobbies and interests that you don't particularly see in everyday life, and also being able to be a very free and accepted version of yourself as well. Which, yeah, in the day-to-day, a lot of us don't have that. We get that horrible judgment, and that's what we get into. But I've always tried to explain the furry fandom as like a hotel lobby. Like, it's a room with a lot of doors in it. Like, you turn up in a hotel lobby, but there's all these other rooms, there's all these panels going on and shit like that. And, the fandom's just the lobby. It's just what gets you in. Whereas, once you're in, you're like, oh, cool, this is amazing, this is great, I love it here. I'm going to go somewhere else, though. I'm going to have a look what's over there and over here. It gets you to where you really want to be, It's like the overworld of a game. You can walk around and interact with people, but essentially all the real content you go off somewhere else for. And that's essentially what I feel like a lot of us have with this, is that you turn up for like the social groups and whatnot, and you go to fur meets and you interact and everything, you really overexpose yourself and make your social circle as big as possible, but then you start whittling it down and you start to realise that that's just not really sustainable, and the more you learn about certain people, the more you learn, actually we don't really gel together as well as I thought, and I don't even know your name, but essentially, you then boil it down to just a small core group of friends, and then it doesn't become about being, we're furries in the fandom. It becomes about, well, these are my friends. These are people I care about. These are people I love. These are the people I'm going to stick with as long as I can in my life. And then the fandom doesn't really have that much, significance to it. And that's why I felt a very deep personal connection to the fandom in the early days of it, and I felt very threatened by not being a part of it and such. But essentially, that kind of just stopped. I found friends, and that was the most important thing to me. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. And that's lovely. That works really well, doesn't it? Apart from when you have this, massive pandemic that spans multiple years, and that whole going and socializing thing doesn't really happen anymore. And that's where you start to feel like, am I even really a furry anymore? Do I even really do any of this stuff? I haven't been to fur meets or a con in years. Christ, I haven't seen some friends in years now. And, if that's the whole reason I got myself into this, then, what's left? But then, you have to find other things. I make videos and shit, and I can't stop flaunting the paws, as we're all very aware. But it does make you wonder, if these are the true reasons people get into it, is there going to be a sort of dip in the fandom? I don't know. It's very difficult to feel very much a part of it, and included if everything is just virtual and online, and you can't go and do the things that really make you feel that, this is a valuable thing. But that's just my 2 cents, I guess. That's just the way I feel about it. What about you, the very small amount of people who are probably still watching this video? What do you think? Do you still feel like you're part of it? Do you still feel like, this is just as amazing as when you come in? Or has your understanding and love of the fandom developed and changed? Or has it even just moved on to something else? Let me know in the comments, because I'm interested. But yeah, so you have it. There's my little 2 cents, a little bit of a discussion this Christmas, because, it's busy, but it's also, you come up to the end of the year and you start thinking retrospectively, and you start wondering, blah, 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 blah. Basically, you just keep overthinking shit, and then I decided, let's just turn that into a video. Done. Deal. But thank you for watching and enjoying this video. I hope it was an interesting topic, because it's one that I've been thinking about a lot. Please let me know your responses and such in the comments, because I'm very intrigued to see whether I'm alone in this or whether this is something a lot of people are thinking about lately. But if you did want to support us this Christmas and also get something for yourself, there is some merch available just over here. Look, it's by the Christmas tree, yes? And if you also wanted to support us privately and just get some really nice little benefits and such, then maybe have a look at the Patreon as well. It's Christmas. Shameless begging. But yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good time of the year. Whatever you celebrate, whatever you're doing, I hope it's at least good, and pray to God the next year is better. Bye!